Right, so welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit. It is a tabletop role-playing podcast made for people who roll for sarcasm with advantage.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good. I love that.
I'm so bad at sarcasm, though. People can't tell if I'm being real or sarcastic.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like sarcasm is like native language for most English speakers, at least in the States.
exactly. But that goes back to a conversation about English. But no, like I will
Yeah,
say something
okay,
super
fair.
sarcastic in game at the table, and everyone like takes me serious. I'm going
Oh,
time
wow.
out, time out.
I'm
Intense.
I'm the opposite. I to a point where I have to tell my partner and just kind of go, look, just so you know, I'm being genuine. This
I'm
is
saying
not-
it flat,
I-
but the
this-
lack of affect is sincerity this time.
I just
really.
everything I do, everything I say sounds sarcastic.
You need a sincerity flag. You're like,
Yeah,
this is
that's
for
it.
Real. Yeah.
A
Like
sign
that
if
TikTok
I do
guy,
that.
the red and green flag TikTok guy. You just needed a dude on
Ooh.
your shoulder to like raise a flag.
I love that guy. That guy's
He's
fucking
amazing.
awesome.
He's great. Who doesn't
All
love him?
right. Okay, so my name's Juan Santana.
Hello.
I'm Atlas.
No,
Hi.
thanks, Atlas. And
Yeah.
tonight with us, we have a very special treat. We have Michael, all the way from Luck of Legends.
I've never been a special treat before. I don't know if I'm
You-
going to live up to the hype.
Oh,
Wow,
you
that's
are. You
lovely.
already are. Like, I'm super excited. Like, I already loved the stuff we were going to talk about originally. And then you're like, oh, just kidding. We're talking about this. I'm like,
Apologies. I got a
I'm
lot to say
excited.
about a lot of
No,
things, but
you talk
literally,
about
you talk
whatever you
about
want.
anything nerdy. I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
fully committed. So.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about nerdy shit because that's why we're kind of here.
Let's go.
So first of all, before we actually get into what you really want to talk about, the question I asked all of our guests
Okay.
is, how did you get started in tabletop role-playing games?
Okay, it's the superhero origin story.
Yes.
That's what we want to hear.
This actually connects to what I want to talk about today.
Ooh,
I know,
It's
yeah.
almost
cool.
like it's planned.
That's
Dun, dun,
well, I
dun.
don't know. I don't know if you know this. I've said this too many times. I have told this story far too many times, but it's true, which makes it easy to retell. So when I was about 11, I met a kid named Sean Dove, and he was my gateway gamer. He was the kid who
Okay.
was like, you know what we could do at this sleepover instead of just drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was very serious business, by the way, because he was very serious about drawing TMNT, and I was
Oh.
too. Yeah, he introduced me.
Oh,
Oh, we kind of seem to have frozen.
It was deep. Oh,
All right.
apologies.
Okay, we're still there. We're still there.
we still
Teenage
got him.
Mutant
We
Ninja-
still got him.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles broke my internet.
It did.
So
As it should.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he was the first person I started playing games with, and within I think a year or two, I had started to build my own. And one of the very first ones I built, I called Lego Battles with a Z, because apparently I was misspelling things even when I was 13, because Z's made it more exciting.
All the cool kids
And,
do it that way.
Yeah, no, right.
Cool with
exactly.
a K. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know
Right.
you're not cool, is you start spelling things with the K, not the yeah. But no, I had this big sunroom that my mom and I had sort of built ourselves. But it had tiles, and the tiles were a perfect grid. So we would build these Mad Max contraption buggies.
Oh.
That's actually the name, buggies with a Z. And the rule was your little minifig would drive your machine of doom around on this thing, and you had distance you could move, you had the range of your weaponry, you had the amount of damage you could do, and you had armor, and you also had fuel, and it cost you fuel to do all of this. So the coolest part about all of this was when you blew up somebody else's buggy, you could then get off yours and loot their armor and fuel, but you had to do it real quick before one of your
Oh.
friends came
I'd be all
and
over
ran
that.
you over. Yeah. So this was clearly 13 years old, and I'm already making Mad Max references in my game design. I don't know what was wrong with me. I've gotten much cuter and fuzzier in my old age, and now I'm designing non-violent stuff. But anyway, fun fact: Sean Dove went on to be a brilliant illustrator. You can find him at andthankyouforflying.com. But he's worked for everybody. Like he's done G.I. Joe. He's done all this wild
wow.
stuff. He's worked with big names, and I felt one of my greatest compliments ever as a designer did not come from any of my recent work. It came from the fact that I was talking to Sean about something, and he said, "Oh yeah, I remember that game Lego Battles we used to play." And he was like, "Where do I get a
Oh,
copy
shit.
of that?" And I was like, "Well, I made that game." And he was like, "I thought it was a real game." And I was like, "It was, Sean. because I made it.
It was real to me.
And so I've held that compliment in my heart. So that's kind of how I got my start. I think I've been building them since I knew you could play them. Because the
That's
minute I see a
amazing.
thing, I want to rip it apart and I want to figure out how it works, and then I want to put together my own version.
I just want to play the Mad Max game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know.
you know.
I'm just like, wait, is that? Can we like?
Well, if you want to talk about Infinibrix, it both can do all the things the Mad Max game can do.
Yeah, let's-
also. And
Okay,
also.
Let's cut the preamble. I did have some more like get to know you questions, but let's go
Feel free.
straight into
Yeah, let's just go.
Infinibrix.
We'll get
Let's-
to know you on the way.
Let's
It's
do
part of the
this
journey.
shit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So I will start with this. I love all storytelling games. I love them all.
Mhm.
One thing I hate is when a story game tells you no. And since I work with kids a lot, there's a lot of ways in which the way that you onboard, the way you design to onboard people into the experience of gaming. Whoa, oh, you're sharing screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what I want to. I'm like, what are you showing people? It's the embarrassing intro video. So I
No.
teach this. This is where I teach with role-playing games, and I also design role-playing games to help kids learn how to write. And my programs are running in a bunch of schools. Kids have huge writing games. It's kind of a facepalm thing for me that I didn't start this approach years ago, because I've been in the classroom for 20 years, and I
Oh,
could have
wow.
been doing this since the jump if I were brighter.
Hmm.
But anyway, this kind of gets into the question of like how you onboard people into story games. So
Yeah.
think about like D&D, right? D&D does this thing. If you got a blank page in front of you and somebody says, make a character, you're going to be like, oh. And either you're going to be like,
fair.
Batman. I like Batman. I'm going to be Batman. Or you're just going to get stuck and you're going to be like, I don't know, man. Too many options.
Hmm.
So one of the
Yeah,
first
that's
things
fair.
that a game does design-wise is it shapes your creativity. It puts some limits on it, but that gives you some direction. Hey, you can pick these classes. Hey, you're going to roll these stats, and that's going to tell you what you're good at, and then that's going to tell you how you're going to solve problems, right? One of the problems with that is it also shuts you down.
Hmm.
So the classic example, and if you let me share a screen, I will share this video.
Go for it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
down there on the bottom, you should see
I
share.
have had things like monster. Wait, can I share sound? Is sound also going to be shared when I play
I
this
don't
thing?
know.
Do you want to? It should be. Yeah, it should be.
Okay, this is a very rough cut. My final edit hasn't come through, or I would have posted this all over social media. But this
You're getting
explains
spoiled.
the reason that Infinibrix is the game that I am most proud of. And one of the reasons is it never says no. And the question is, how do you shape somebody's creativity without ever saying no? And the answer is you have to give them something to work with, right? You have to give them a way to imagine who they're going to be. And there's already a game for that. So this was leveraging the power, the intuitive story building power of something that everybody immediately recognizes and knows how to do. If you dump a bunch of Legos out on a table, Mega Blocks, any kind of toys where you get to build your own character, right?
Hmm.
Within seconds, everyone at the table is like, here's my dude. And they'll immediately be like, tell me about your dude. I don't care what kid you're talking to. Kid's like, okay, so they have like a giant backpack and it's full of stuff and it's powered by nuclear ooze. And you're like, awesome. That's dope. You should, yes, let's go. So the question then is, how do you create a system that uses that onboarding, but doesn't limit it by hanging too many requirements on what you're able to do or not able to do, right? So that it says no to you. I don't want a game that says no. I want a game that consistently says yes. If you say Monster Truck Wizard, I want to go, let's go. Like, I don't want to
Right?
stop you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is what gave birth to Infinibrix. And this has been relentlessly play tested. It has, I don't know, I'm super fond of it. I built this with Rob Hebert, who is nerdypapergames.com. He's a brilliant artist and designer. And he was my colleague on this. And yeah, we're both kind of super obsessed. So I will share the video, but only if I know the sound works, because without the sound.
Okay. Well, do you want to send me the video and I can
Ooh.
upload it, and
Oh,
that way we know sound's gonna work.
we
Let's
have
do
a
that.
thinker.
But
All right,
anyway,
you send it
feel
via
free to-
Discord, and
There you
I'll
go.
be doing it in the background.
I got you. Tell me, Meanwhile, what do you want to know? Because I'll happily tell you
Everything. I mean, you've already captured my imagination. You've captured my sort of youthful side of it when you brought out a Lego piece and went, "This is what my game's fucking based on."
Yeah, I love this. Like we have a dear friend of ours, Rob, who every single game that he runs, he makes these little Lego minis for his character. Like that's how he uses his minis. And so when you popped that at, yes, I'm just like I'm loving this.
Just wait. Just wait. You hear that little click? Fun fact.
Yes.
A Lego 4x4 fits a standard 16 millimeter die perfectly.
I'm loving
Stop
everything about
it.
this conversation.
So
I need to go get
the
Legos.
The instructions for this, the instructions for your dice dock actually come with the game.
I'm sorry, your
And
dice dock?
This is your
Why
dice
is
dock.
that so awesome?
It makes me happy every time. And this has been through so many incarnations. I actually had one with 4 little dice stocks for 4 little dice, and then places where you could slot cards because you can actually build a character sheet with modular card slots. The only reason we trimmed it down, to be completely clear, was the cards ended up restraining creativity. So we had to ditch them in favor of a classic character sheet, which I will talk about momentarily, but it has no numbers on it because those limit creativity too.
This might be a super basic question.
Yeah,
I do have a question.
Please.
And it might be basic as basic.
I love basic.
Did you decide like, hey, I really want to like make this easy for creativity and stuff because you're surrounded with kids because you do teach? Or was it the other way around where you're like, oh, I need to create something for the people that I spend my life with? Like, what
both.
order did that? Is it
both?
both?
I gotta tell you, well, so it's really like there's process over time. I stopped playing with people who play role-playing games when I was around probably 21, right about when I graduated from college. And part of the reason was I'd had too many bad experiences at conventions with folks who were really not great. And it was one of those things where I felt like, okay, this is a really fun thing to do. Yeah. But I don't want to do it with people I don't love. And a lot of the people I love don't know how to do it. So it sort of catapulted me into, all right, so I'm going to make a version of this that anybody can do because everybody can. We all play make-believe. It's one of the weirdest, I don't know, strangest myths about role-playing that somehow it's this magical thing and you have to be invited to the table and it's too complicated for you to understand. It's make-believe.
Yeah,
you played make-believe when you were 5. Nobody needs to teach you how. You know how to do it. All we need to do is give you enough structure that you can do it as an adult and keep that momentum and fall into the fantasy so you forget to think all the other dumb stuff that gets in the way. And that's why people who fall in love with it fall in love with it. I always laugh when people are like, I love D&D. I'm like, tell me about your favorite D&D episode. They were like, well, it was amazing. We didn't roll dice at all. I was like, you weren't playing D&D. And they're like, how dare you? And I'm like, that was your game. You made it up. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, but that's the brilliance of it, right? It's got enough that it gets you to the point where you forget and you play the first game again, make believe. So that's always my goal. I want to get people to that wonderful fluid flow state. And of course, teaching for 20 years, that's what you do as a teacher. We were talking about this before the show, but every teacher is a game designer. We're constantly hacking the game of school because that's what a game is. It's experience design. You're trying to create systems, procedures, rituals that bring people together, get them excited to do a thing, help them do the thing together, and hopefully changes them in some way. When you're a game designer, you just have to worry about fun, which is like, wow, you took off all the learning goals. That's, for me, game design is so easy compared to teaching. I'm like, oh, game design. Yeah, let's go.
Teaching's hard. I was almost a teacher. I realized I was not built for it. Yeah, no.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I've turned some master
too many
students
restraints.
Away.
Yeah, there's too many restraints. Like if I could just do whatever I want when I teach, that'd be one thing. But
but you can only. This is where you have to get good at hacking. Every single person is like, well, you know what I did when they said that and it didn't fit in D&D. I made up all of this. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Homebrew.
This is exactly what teachers do every day. Teachers realize the rules exist to serve the students, not everybody else in the community. And sadly, the game of school is rigged and designed for a whole lot of people, but usually not for kids, which is sad because they're the players. There's a very good reason a lot of kids are like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Like I'm gonna save my energy for the stuff that's fun. This
Yeah,
just
that's
seems
such a
like an
good outlook
opportunity
for
to
that,
lose.
yeah.
I don't want to play a game where I know I'm gonna lose and I'm not gonna have any win conditions.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna reserve myself inside the room, and outside the room, I'm not gonna think about this at all because it's got
Mhm.
nothing to offer me. Good teachers, all they're doing is going, all right, hold on, here's the structure. Let me bend this here. Let me move this guy over here on a hinge, and figuring out how to make it work. So anyway, how would you like to loop back around? Do you want to talk about Infinibrix? I told you, I
swear
warned
I
y'all.
could sit here and just listen to you talk.
I would say, Michael, you just keep
Don't say
going.
that.
Like,
You know, I
Don't
just,
say that.
you know, I've got nothing to fucking add. You just crack on. This is fascinating to me.
Now I feel guilty, man.
no,
Oh,
okay.
this is
When?
fascinating.
Let's start with when. When
Okay.
Infinibrix? When?
Oh gosh. So I've literally have been making and remaking this game for 30 years. Ever since
my
Lego
God.
Battles, I've been, there was a version of this that I was playing right before the pandemic with a group of neighborhood
Wow.
kids. And it was all based around Legos and minifigs. It had a different system. This is the result now of relentless playtesting and relentless, relentless, let's say, sacrificing of sacred cows.
Okay, yeah.
Sort of disposing of things.
Yeah.
For instance, I can't stand a stat. I can't stand stats.
Hmm.
There should be no numbers in my game. Please get those numbers out of my game. This is a
Which
story
also, I
game.
feel like for our listeners and viewers, we should point out you are an English teacher, correct?
I am.
So there we go. I
I'm
just
in
wanna,
it for
I
the
just want to add that
story.
little piece of sprinkles.
Well,
and...
wait. That doesn't mean I don't love tactics. That doesn't mean
no,
I don't
no.
love all
No,
the
I
gritty,
didn't say tactics.
stuff. So my thing is in design, a role exists in my mind for two reasons. It's either to get you unstuck in the story because you're in a dead end, or it's to ramp drama. If I roll and it's gonna, and I'm gonna go, if there's a gasp when the dice hit the table, you're doing it right. That's a good mechanic. If the dice hit the table and everybody's like, okay, your turn, you did it wrong. Rebuild the game.
Yeah.
Rebuild the game. Something's not working.
I have a few games that I like to mention that do that.
I don't know if that's what you do around here. I'll try to stay out of it. I'll step to the side and be like, go ahead. You say what you gotta say.
No, we like the games that are fun. Let's put it that way.
I'm obsessed with fun. If you ever get a chance, check out the 8 types of fun. There's a good article on Gnome Stew about the 8 types of fun. As a designer, I'm obsessed. Fun's a little bit like the word love. It can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And when you're designing, it pays to know what kind of fun you're designing for. So if you're designing for competition or challenge, that's not necessarily the same as designing for the feeling of fellowship or the feeling of expression. I want to express myself, or the feeling of creative authorship, right? Some control over plot line and fantasy. So if you know what you're aiming for when you start out with your build, it allows you to have a really nice litmus test for any mechanic. You're like, how is this going to improve everyone's connection at the table? Okay, it's working. Or, ooh, okay, maybe it's getting in the way. Let me set that one aside. Yeah. Anyway, there are no stats in Infinibrix. So since I can't share screen, here you go.
I'm looking at a picture on the website of the sheet, and you have it right there.
See if I can find it.
It's so colorful.
It's also, very colorful.
Also, your game wins hands down for one reason, and I'll tell you why. You have a section on your bottom left-hand part of your thing that says pet. I have a pet blank.
You must have a pet.
Blank.
Listen, if there's anything I know,
I'm sold.
pets need to be on there. You got to be able to have a companion because everybody wants it. One. So the key thing here is you might look at this and think, all right, so I'm just writing, qualitative things about my character. How does this lead to any kind of tactical interaction? The answer is triumph dice and trouble dice.
I like the name. Oh,
so here's how these work. Triumph dice, they got a blank on 1, 2, and 3, but they still have the numbers on there because there's some special abilities that trigger on things. 4 and 5 have a triumph. And 6 has your exploding die bonus die symbol because we're always a fan of the heroes.
I love exploding dice.
Everybody loves exploding dice because they're super fun. Trouble dice work exactly the same way, only They don't have a bonus die on 6 because we're not a fan of trouble. We love trouble for being, for ramping things up, but we don't want it to explode and dominate our heroes.
You
So
don't
when
want a Rollmaster one-shot kill.
No.
No.
Nobody has fun with that. That's the most boring thing in the world. So you have also on your character sheet, your little dice stock. And your dice stock has your heart points and your spark points. It also has this
Ooh.
little ready tag. This little ready tag, what this says is I'm ready to roll. As soon as you've rolled, you fold it down. And then you wait. And then as soon as everybody's folded it down, everybody goes right back up again. So there's no need for turns. You don't have initiative. There's no purpose. You just talk about who thinks they've got something cool to do. Okay, no, you go first because you're all on the same side.
I love fucking everything about this one.
I want a dice stock. I want a dice stock so bad. I'm sitting here going, I just
one.
moved.
I mean, if you guys want to play this, I'll run it for you sometime.
Holy
Don't
shit,
even
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm in.
Like,
So let me explain how these guys work. So whenever you make a roll, whether it's in, so this is powered by something called, okay, this is me being a cheesy dad. It's called the Sage Game Engine.
oh.
Now here's why that's cheesy. My son's name is Sage.
Fair.
But there's
Aw.
so it stands for Story Arena Game Engine. So play goes between 3 modes in Infinibrix. In Infinibrix, you're in build mode where you're building stuff and talking about the worlds you want to go to. There's story mode, which let me grab I still have my story deck from the video. Well, I still haven't sent that to you, have I?
No, I'm still waiting on that, but I'm still mesmerized by all of this.
All right, here you go.
I'm looking at all the colors and the bricks.
So this is the story and arena scene thing. So here's how a story scene works. It's literally a Mad Lib. So we could actually do this right now, and then I'll read it aloud for you, and you can
Let's
find
do it.
out. Okay, here
Let's
you
do
go.
it.
Ready?
Let's do it.
All right,
You
ready?
don't. Yeah, I'm invested.
Okay.
You weren't ready. Like us two as co-hosts are like children.
Yeah,
We all are
100.
because children know how to
Yeah.
do it. This is the problem. Like the reason
And
we all
as-
love this hobby.
As
is
a
'cause
dad
it's fun.
myself, I'm
let's
seeing this
go.
and just going, I want this in my life.
This is so easy
I
to use.
have 7 nieces under the age of 16 that
Let's go.
I really
Can I tell you
like
this
let's
plays,
go.
Can I tell you this plays really well with adults too? You grab a bunch of beers and Legos, and I swear you'll have the best evening of your life. I'm not lying.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Okay, so here we go. Give me something scary.
All right, Atlas, do you want to go first?
Spiders.
Spiders. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I need something solid one.
Something solid.
Mm-hmm.
A door.
Okay. I need a liquid. Atlas.
Sprite.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Intense. Something smelly one.
Socks.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's
I don't know. My socks smell lovely. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
know. I was about to say my
Atlas-
socks are wonderful.
Atlas,
I'm
I need a
offended
color.
slightly. Oh, orange.
Orange. It's a good choice. I'm actually writing with an orange Sharpie.
Well,
So,
there you
So there
go.
we
well
go.
played.
There we go.
Subliminal.
I need a creature one.
Octopus.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. No.
I love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clothing item plural. Atlas.
Clothing item. I don't.
You can be simple. You don't have to get complicated.
All right. Hoodies.
There you go. I knew. I was. You know.
the first thing came to my mind was socks, and I'm like, we just did socks.
I mean, that could end up being a thing, though. If it's socks
Could,
again,
it could.
that could explain a lot about this scene. Okay, musical instruments one.
An oboe.
An oboe, of course. Yeah. Okay. And a material, Atlas.
Satin.
Huh? Satin. Ooh. Wow,
Satin.
we got fancy from socks. Dangerous object one.
A saw.
I
Saw. Ooh,
really thought he was
wow.
about to
Okay,
say
yeah,
himself.
yikes. Swimming creature, Atlas.
Ooh, a manatee.
Oh, okay. Hold on, I can't finish writing.
That came out a little too fast, I think.
I know that was good though. Okay, well, I
was
need
good.
a food.
Lasagna.
Lasagna, of course.
Oh,
You,
I love
Garfield
lasagna.
shout out. Okay, got it.
I've betrayed my nationality by not saying paella, but We'll go. We'll go.
There you
Leslie.
go. That's okay. We forgive you.
Thank
It's a
you.
This is a safe place. Okay, creatures. Atlas. Final answer.
What kind of creatures? Does it matter?
And it doesn't matter. Creatures. Any creatures. Go.
Bats.
Bats. Okay. Great.
Why
Okay.
is that
Here we go.
okay
Ready?
I don't.
This is
I'm
the
ready.
scene. This is the scene. You
Okay.
find yourself standing before Mount Spiders, a
Ew.
towering volcano made of doors. A boiling moat of sprites surrounds it, giving an often unbelievable stench of socks. The orange sky above is filled with winged octopuses circling ominously. Yeah, they're kind of terrifying sounding.
That's fucking scary. I'm not gonna.
On the shore, a crowd of figs dressed in hoodies. Figs, by the way, are figments, as in figments of the
Oh.
imagination.
All right. Okay.
There's a
Love
matrixy
that.
thing here. You are inspired. You're the figs who know your figs, and you have the ability to reshape reality because you know you're in the matrix.
That's amazing.
Thank you. On the shore, a crowd of figs dressed in hoodies are singing and dancing to the sounds of oboes.
That's fair.
Across
That's
the moat, you
accurate.
see a satin door carved into the mountainside. It's amazing what they can do with satin these days.
Right? Yeah.
Your spark senses that the fragment is inside. So the way this works, you are figs in the Infiniverse. There is a force. This force is called Gloomsday or the Gray. It is a huge, lifeless cube outside the known realms of the Infiniverse, and it embeds fragments of itself into realms that slowly suck away their spark, drain them of creativity, and crumble them into more mass for the ever-growing Gloomsday cube. So the bottom line is you got to find the spark and eliminate it before this realm disintegrates and becomes part of the Gray. Now, if you look here, oops, I'm like, I have to fold over my cover sheet because this is our prototype of a terrible, and when I say terrible, I mean with an EAR, pad of story scenes. So you can fill these out and then tear off and do the next one. But if you look, there are these lovely little dice here. They're telling you how challenging each of these challenges are to overcome. So if I'm guiding the game as a game manager, I know, okay, sweet. If they're going to if somebody tries to swim in the boiling moat of Sprite or run over it using their super speed, there's at least 2 trouble dice on that roll. So your character, your fig, you get to tell me, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? You can be whatever fig you like.
I want to pole vault over the moat.
Great. Do you have like a piece of gear that is your extendable pole? Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I just happen to have it. You know, it's
look here.
funny you should ask.
Well, so here's your gear. And this is the lovely part about the intuitiveness of making a figment is that this is how easy it becomes. You look at the fig and you answer questions. It becomes very easy for you to intuitively say, yeah, I know what I got for gear. This is my most important thing. Hey, yeah, I got a pet. Here's who my pet is. Yeah, I got some transportation. It's my jet boots. Or it's the engine on the back of my backpack, right? And it doesn't matter if you're a monster truck wizard, because this doesn't have to be Lego. It can be any toys you got on hand. So you say, all right, I got my extendable thing. I'm going to pole vault over. Is there anything else about you? For instance, you have an ability. Are you super fast? Are you very jumpy? Are you anything fancy?
I'll say nimble.
You're nimble. Okay, so you're like a ninja with a pole.
That's
cool.
how we know it's a fantasy, because in real life, I'm not fucking nimble.
I was about to say.
You know what? You play your dreams. That is the goal here. That is what we do. Okay.
Yes.
So look, that's two triumph dice.
Yeah.
And 2 trouble dice for that boiling moat of Sprite. Now, when I roll these, troubles eliminate triumphs. But,
right. Okay.
But, and this is the fun part, if you tie, you add 1 of each kind and roll again. It escalates.
Oh, okay.
So you roll, and what did I get for you? Oh, you lucked out. So check it out. I rolled 1 trouble and a blank. So you had 1 trouble.
Yeah.
But you got both a triumph and a bonus die.
Nice.
I'm going to roll a bonus die for you. You got a 3rd triumph. So you got 3 triumphs. The triumph says you get what you want. The extra 2 says you get 2 extra things that are good.
Oh.
Now, this might mean you heal a heart. It might mean you heal a spark point. It might also mean that you help a friend out. You're like, yeah, I'm going to take my buddy with me. I'm going to tuck him under my arm. And we're going to go, I'm going to pole vault all the way across.
Yoink.
Exactly. So this is how the story section works. Now during arena, you bust out your battle mat. So
Oh,
this is just our first prototype. Rob did this one. This is Rob Hebert, nerdypapergames.com.
love that.
That is really good, though.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's really good. He's the best of the best. So you lay all your Legos out on here, and we have a little setup so that you can see where to put the different Legos, and you can put anything you want into the scene. But for each of your foes in a tactical scene, you have a foe card. And the foe card does this handy little thing. It says, hey, a fragling
cool.
takes 1 heart. So if you hit a fragling once, it dies. It's gone. Well, it doesn't die because nothing dies in the Infiniverse. It's deconstructed.
Yeah.
It can be reconstructed just like figs can be. Death is a concept. It's not something we play with in Infinibrix. But if you look, they've got all these lovely little tags. So their attack tag is Om Nom Nom. They're clearly bitey, right? Because they're fraglings. Look at them.
Oh my God, I love that.
You can see they're dodgy little buggers. So that's their defense, right? That you can see that they have skittery speed, right? That's their movement. And then you can see the last one is they got spark drain. They can do a minus spark attack. In other words, when they attack you, they can drain your spark instead of draining your hearts.
Love that.
So here's what you do. Each round, your little fig gets to move 10 studs. Now, 10 studs, if you don't know, is also the same. Let me see if I have 10 studs sort of lying around here somewhere.
There's a joke to be made about looking around for studs, but
I teach children.
I'm here.
I'm just gonna let that one go.
Connell is in the chat.
I know, right? I was
Oh,
like,
boy.
I'm surprised Connell hasn't commented yet.
So 10 studs is also the same size as what's called a Lego wrench. Lego wrenches
Oh, yeah.
are
I
these
was
little
gonna
guys
say.
for popping. Yeah. So you can move this distance and then you can act. And your act can be literally anything you can describe. If you say, I want to pants the Minotaur, great. You can pants the Minotaur. Describe how you're going to do it, leverage your dice, and I'll see if any of the Minotaur's tags help it avoid being pantsed. The fact that it's incredibly burly might not help it avoid being pantsed. Let's be honest. It's giant horns, maybe. Maybe he's swinging his horns around, so it's harder to get a hold of his shorts
That's fair.
and yank. But the bottom line is, the goal was to create a system where you can negotiate to create any outcome you want. So I'm going to pants the Minotaur. Great. You can pants the Minotaur. Now, here's the trick. Ready? For every extra thing you want to do, for every boost, example, let's say you don't want to just pants the Minotaur. Let's say you want to take a second move and then pants the Minotaur, because you're not close enough to pants him when you move once. Add another trouble die.
Oh,
Let's say you want to hit somebody at range, or hit everybody in a cone, or hit somebody in a line. Add a trouble die.
Okay.
Let's say you want to hit everybody within 10 studs with an emanation. You're going to scream or roar, or add a trouble die. The other way you can do this is you can spend a point of spark. So spark exists as your creative resource. This is what you spend to get. This is when you're using your creativity. This, we don't talk about the gods in Infinibrix, but we kind of hint at the gods in Infinibrix. They're the players.
Yep.
So you have the energy of the gods because you are inspired. You have that same creativity to reshape the world. You're powered by this divine spark, right? And when you spend this, you get bonus triumph dice. So you can spend spark to up your pool when you start to do something racy. And the racier it gets and the bigger you're going, the more spark you're going to have to spend to offset all those trouble dice. So this is how the game works. This is the core engine. It works whether you're tactical and on the mat. It works for sports games. Literally, we've played through games of Smash Ball, where the point was smashing the opponent's tower and then hammering the ball into the hole. And you can do like, okay, I'm going to pass it to him. Well, he's way too far. All right, I'm adding 2 more trouble dice to get it to the other side of the field. And like, I'm going to tackle him. And I'm going to steal the ball. Okay, tackling him, that's one thing. That's your first action. Stealing the ball, add that trouble dice. And then, of course, you're looking at your foes and asking, okay, what abilities do they have that might get in the way of being tackled?
Hmm.
So will this guy
Oh.
has an iron body. Uh-oh, extra trouble die for you.
Yeah.
And you'll also notice
Yeah.
they have a skull rating. This tells you how many trouble die they are base. So the
Mm.
Iron Guardian's 3 to start with. He's trouble.
Jeez.
You don't want to mess with him. And then you're adding on these guys. Boy, you better blow some spark. You want to do something fancy to him.
Hmm.
Is there a max of how much trouble dice like you have, or a minimum, or like
A max?
yeah, like do you end up?
Are
with, like, a
you
table
trying
full
to
of trouble
limit
dice?
creativity, Atlas?
No, I'm saying
that what
I
you're
want a
trying to do?
pile. I'm saying I want a pile
Of course you do. I'm sorry.
I have. Listen, here's the thing. I have like dragon holding my dice. I have a cup of dice that
Can I
apparently attached
show
to
you
a
what
bag
I
of
take
dice.
with me to my after school class every
Yes.
week? This
Yeah,
is the
okay,
coffin-shaped box of D6s. I can't count as I don't know how many there are. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I'm a huge fan of rolling giant handfuls of dice, and so are kids. So
Hmm.
that's something we
Yeah.
do on the regular
Yeah.
for sure. So this is the
Yep.
chassis on which we've built the game. The really cool part is it's also designed to scaffold kids very quickly and adults into running games for one another. The goal here is I don't want you to have to be a gamer to pick this game up. I don't
Yep.
want you to have to be guided in by some. I'll be honest. Ready? No offense to Catholics here. I am tired of role-playing games being Catholic. You can't talk to the rules.
Oh my
First,
god.
you must talk to me. I have this.
No, yeah.
I have a robe. Look at the stone.
Yes.
I will
Yes.
roll for you. I will explain. It's too complicated for you. I want to talk to the game directly, and I want a game that brings people into the game immediately, and that's what this is. Literally, within picking up this box, you can play a role-playing game within 5 minutes. You build your fig. Filling out those lines is completely intuitive. You answer a couple of questions on the Mad Lib, and you're in a story scene. And the mechanics make intuitive sense because does a tag apply? I'm looking at the fig. I know whether it applies or whether it doesn't because I understand intuitively what the interaction is. So the dice provide you with a way to have the conversation about the fiction, which is exactly what the dice should do. They're telling you,
Right.
I can do this, and I got this, and that's going to help me. And the other person's able to go, yeah, but this is going to get in your way.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly intuitive, and it gets you into the process almost instantaneously. And it's utterly expandable because these cards, they go on forever. There's so many of them already, and the bad guys can have all sorts of lovely little special abilities, and there's equipment that gives you specials too. Once per game, you can attack with a line with a line without spending a spark when you're using the laser cannon, or when you're using the laser saber. We're not going to call it a lightsaber.
No,
You
I love
automatically
lasers.
destroy
Lightsabers?
any terrain that you strike is automatically destroyed when you swing your lightsaber. And of course, kids are going to be like, "Give me that!" Like I am totally putting
yeah.
a lightsaber on my wizard. Let's go.
I have a labor saber. Wait,
A
nope,
labor saber.
laser
A
saber.
labor
I want
saber.
a labor saver even more than a light. I'm in. Sign me up. Where do I get this thing?
Early retirement.
Let's go. Let's go.
No, I have one on like the robot that I'm playing in the game, the sci-fi game I'm currently playing in.
Yeah.
And it's such a little kid thing too, because my GM Connell, who's in the chat,
Yeah.
was like, "All right, so I'm thinking saber, like a blade." I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "Kind of like a lightsaber." I was in.
Yeah,
I tried to play
100%.
it so cool. I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool," but inwardly, I'm going, "Give me the lightsaber."
And the minute you had it, didn't you just start
Oh.
carving holes in walls? Because isn't
it's
that
never-
like there are no doors once you have a lightsaber?
There's no doors. There's
You're
no
just-
Yeah, that
doors,
is
and
part of
it's
the
never not in my
fun.
hand.
That's it.
Yeah.
100% it.
Never not in my hand. Always have it.
Yeah. So this is Infinibrix. It's coming out in 2025. We're in the process of doing all the fancy things. My manufacturers. I'm getting
That's
good.
prototypes, and I feel like a real boy.
Can I just say, if
Yeah.
anybody goes to the website, which is I'm assuming luckylegends.com/Infinibrix.
Yeah, but you can also
Um,
just put in
can you?
infinibrix.com and it takes it directly to
Okay.
the page.
the
So try it
video
out.
quality
There's
is
that link
great.
just
It
down at the
looks
bottom of
great.
the screen.
Well, I've been
Like-
doing this as my full-time job for almost 5 years now, so I take it pretty
It's
seriously.
fantastic.
Thank
It's
you.
fantastic. Like, there's a lot of times I'll be sent to a website that I'm like,
Mm.
okay, what's the point? Where am I going with this? It's straight up just like, hey, this is the thing, and it just looks inviting. I want to play this game.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
That-
As a matter
it
of fact,
looks
Sam
phenomenal.
in the it looks great.
I'm super
Kids
excited
or
about it.
adults.
It's
Like-
really fun because playing with Legos is really, here's what I was looking for, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think D&D is absolutely, it's trying to model that classic game of make-believe, right? But the problem is the reason people haven't been in this for so long, and that so few people have, and it's only beginning to kind of catch on now, is that it was a little bit too much to learn how. And I was looking for a game that was intuitive as a bridge. And there is no more intuitive. I mean, I'll be honest. I think Lego is the best designed game on the planet. And I would posit that it is a game. It is both like it's become an art form, but it is also a game because no one has to explain the rules to you. If you dump Legos out in front of anyone, you automatically, intuitively, people know how they fit together and are able to build and create and immediately start telling stories. So this is the goal. If you scroll down a little, you can see all the little GIFs.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's where I saw the pet thing right there.
Oh my gosh,
the little heart with a paw on it.
We had a whole roll through thing. Coralclimb.com, CORAL. Lucas at Coral Climb is the one who shot the video, and he's genius and brilliant, and his animator's amazing. Maximo.
Everything's good.
I'm very lucky in all the people I'm working with, and none of this would have happened without all of them. So it's definitely a team effort, but it's been super fun.
It is phenomenal. I'm mesmerized by it. I am, I'm kind of stuck for words, and that doesn't happen very often.
Thank you, I think.
No, it is a wonderful.
Now, like, okay,
scroll down and show the lore. Show the lore pictures. The lore pictures are great.
Does everybody have like?
There you go. Keep going.
Does it have a Lego set that it comes with, or is it people need to go get Legos?
So I am not a purveyor of Legos. I have no association or affiliation with the Lego Corporation or any other plastic bricks corporation. There you go. I'm finished. I actually have a little minifig character. We call him Monstroyer Lawyer. He's a monster in a suit with a battle briefcase, and he was part of our play testing. And Monstroyer Lawyer actually comes on at the end of the Kickstarter video and does a little
that's
does
adorable.
The little
disclaimer.
The disclaimer.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Well, he's kind of a imitation. Just to pump Rob Hebert again. Rob Hebert, nerdypaper.games.com. Not only is he a brilliant artist and a brilliant designer, he's also my lawyer. And he has long hair, and so does Monstroyer Lawyer. So he is my Rob in the video.
That's amazing.
But anyway, no, this is for you to play with the toys you have on hand. Now, can you play this game with the minifigs you got? Sure. Can you play it with your little D&D minifigs? Sure. But your little D&D minifigs can't grab the weapons on the table and swap out. They can't grow a pair of wings on their back when they spend a point of spark to actually alter the tags on their sheet and change their fundamental nature because they're inspired. So
see, you're gonna laugh, but here's the thing. Again, 7 nieces, 16 and under. No, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm gonna cheer. Like three big old, like, what are they called? I think tubs is what you got, like, whatever.
Tubs is probably a good
Barbie
one.
stuff.
They're the bins
of Barbie stuff, and I was sitting there going, "Oh, we could totally do this."
You 100% can.
I could get all of them into this.
Every toy you've got is absolutely an Infinibrix toy. It doesn't matter what you got on hand. You could draw a bunch of little standees if you want and go to town. It's up to you how you want to play it. But boy, I will tell you, Lego is absolutely super fun.
Yeah, I'd lean more towards Lego.
I would lean more towards Legos. I'm just sitting there going, I feel like.
I mean, I obsess enough to the point where, if you've never played Rapid Attack, Mobile Frame Zero, Rapid Attack.
That looks awesome.
It's brilliant. It's by Vincent Baker and I'm forgetting his name, but he's super cool. But they make these tiny mechs and do squads of mechs, and that war game inspired me to go back. And some of those dice mechanics have inspired me throughout the years. But yeah, this one actually, I'm really proud of this guy. He actually converts to a spaceship. He actually unfolds and changes into a little and he's super tiny. He's the same size as like a regular minifig, which to me feels like a design win.
Yeah.
There's people building little tiny mechs out there. They're super fun. But yeah,
I love that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
I need to go get my Legos.
Yeah, no.
So we need to play Infinibrix.
I will absolutely run Infinibrix for you.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's definitely happening.
Yeah, we'll definitely after this, we'll sit down and
overhead cameras, and you got to bust out the toys. That's the key element.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get my hands on. I've got 2 kids. I can get my hands. Daddy, where are you taking my Lego? No, Don't worry about it.
No, don't
worry
say
about
it.
it.
Just say come
No,
with
bring
me.
them.
Come with
yeah,
me.
I was gonna say. have
Let
the
me
kids
show
come
you
with
what
you.
I'm doing with your Legos. Come here.
Yes.
That's the
And
well,
then make it cooler because kids have better creativity most of the time.
it's you know what it
Most.
is for me? I didn't make this game. This is gonna sound weird. I didn't make this game for kids.
Hmm.
I made it because grown-ups forget what kids know how to do. The problem
Oh,
with games being
yeah.
played intergenerationally is not a kid problem. It's an adult problem. We forget
Yeah.
how to say yes and what next. We forget how to do that. And we also forget how to sustain that back and forth creativity. And I will tell you, as a parent, the moments of connection that I feel like last the longest and become the most genuine. I mean, anybody who's played a story game knows this, right?
Yeah.
They're those
Mhm.
moments when you're immersed in fiction you've created together and you're playing
Yeah.
alongside one another, creating and collaborating
Mm.
together. That is an experience that is hugely transformative and gives you a kind of understanding and connection that you can't forge. It takes a lot more time and experience to forge the kind of bonds you can forge in a story game in minutes. So
Yeah.
this game was designed to help people jump that gap because far too many people, they don't have the agency, they don't have the tools to do this with their kids. I mean, I know so many gamers who, they're D&D heads and they're like, yeah, I play D&D, and they want to get their kids in, and boy, watching the
Yeah.
acrobatics, like people turn
Ooh.
themselves into pretzels trying to make that game work for kids. And I'm like, dude, the fundamental basics of D&D is it says no to things. You can't start with that with kids. You got to start
Hmm.
with yes. You have to have something that allows them. And of course, people do it all the time and they successfully manage to, I know lots of great creators who have been figuring out ways to create all this scaffolding. But this is a game that lets you do it even if you as an adult have never played.
It's funny you should mention that about saying no.
Yeah.
I experienced that very thing with my children
Yeah.
because I am getting them into role playing.
Yeah.
And we've tried different systems.
Yeah.
There's the phenomenal Monty Cook No Thank You Evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really, really good system, and it's very much yes and.
Yep.
I've also tried
Except
Avatar.
you made me pick a character card, and I had to be a superhero or
Yes,
a ninja. And gosh, I really wanted to play, and this is my son, and I can go get the minifig he did this with. I wanted to play a six-winged demon with a head of light, carrying a massive sword built up, which is covered in eyeballs. And I don't see that anywhere here.
Yeah.
Even though Thank You Evil has that fundamental, and it's entirely because you got to help them make the choice. Don't give them the tyranny of a blank page.
Yeah.
And that's why this feels so Sorry,
and
keep going.
So we also did like Avatar Legends and all that. But I did because most of my gaming was Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So I went,
Yeah,
you know what? We're gonna try a watered down Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give him a character sheet and this, that, and the other. And the moment my son went, I want to do this, and I went, I can't let you do that.
Yeah.
That's immediately I lost him.
Yeah.
I lost all sort of interest, all sort of enthusiasm. It was
told
like,
me no. Why did you tell me no? I had a great idea.
And even me, because anybody who follows the show knows I've fallen out of love with Pathfinder a while back.
Yeah.
But it just kind of reaffirmed that. I was like, well, this is shit.
I don't want to cast stones. I don't live in a glass house, but I'm trying my best. But I will say, I do make new games for a reason, and it's because I find that there are lots of games that don't do the things that I need them to do, and I have to believe there's a better game out there. And boy, howdy, I would feel really smug if I made it. I'll send you a copy.
That's a really good way of looking at that.
That's really funny.
I'm having fun with it, man. I'll send you a copy of Starsworn. If you listen to the Stories RPG podcast, Starsworn was I feel like, I don't know, I joke about this, but I feel like my entire career as a designer has been me making different ways to get people into story gaming without having them have to play all those other things, quickly and intuitively. So Stories RPG is an AP pod that goes with a series of different games. Giga City Guardians is one of them. That's our superheroic arc. There's a play-at-home game that is available. It's got coloring book sheets, and it is entirely that's Starsworn. That was our first one. That's our fantasy arc. So
Ooh.
Starsworn is the fantasy arc, and I
Mhm.
should grab the book off the shelf because it's in the other room. But it is a play to learn game. Literally, if you pick this up with a bunch of kids, it's play
Mhm.
to learn, and it never says no. And the podcast allows you to have a second way of learning along with your kids how to do the thing. And yeah, so that's and that's been going. Gosh, I mean that podcast. We're at episode 70 was last week, and
Oh wow!
Nice.
we're almost
Congrats.
through the transdimensional high prom arc. The kids are at prom. They're being chased by the conciliators.
That's
Drix and
fantastic.
Villy just had their moment where they hugged it out because Villy completely stole Drix's mom's heirloom trident, which is being
Rude.
used to break the covenant, which is the giant magical agreement that keeps monsters hidden from humans on Earth. And
Oh,
so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and prom is
yeah.
ramping. And Kelton from BTS, which is Bold Talons and Scales, which is a
Oh my
kobold
god!
pop group. Kelton is
Stop.
at the prom because he and Grady, who is also draconic, have kind of had a thing. And there's like a
Oh.
question there it's open.
Oh,
Yep, it's all the high school feels. But
I
that's
love it.
Transdimensional High. There's also been Luna Uni, which connects with my classroom approach, which
Hmm.
a bunch
Oh.
of teachers are using to
Mhm.
teach English full time. So yeah, that podcast has been super fun, and the people on there are amazing. Shout out, Gamer Mom Luna, Scriv the Bard, Dan of Almost Bedtime Stories. He did the Librarian's Apprentice. He's
Hmm.
amazing, and
Very cool.
Classical Glyza, who is at Classical Glyza everywhere. But they are all amazing, and telling stories with them has been an absolute joy. But it's yet another way to try to be like, okay, how do you scaffold people to understand how this thing works? Because
Hmm.
it is intuitive, but people forget. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Now
That's
that
amazing.
sounds fantastic, and yeah, if you send me a copy of that, I will break it out next
I
time I've got the
I
kids
will
around.
100%. I got books on the shelf, man.
I
I'll
have
grab
like
one.
so much stuff that I want to look into now, and like podcasts. I gotta like shovel out sometime. We're shoveling time apparently.
Shovel
Get a
time.
shovel
Try
spoon.
Shovel time?
Transdimensional High as your first arc,
Okay.
or maybe Luna Uni. Luna Uni's fun. That's set in
Mm.
a utopian future in which
Oh.
everyone in the core worlds gets along. There's no money. There's no prison. Everyone's sustainable. Technology's great. And the problem is, every generation there are some punk kids born with enough genius that they do dangerous things.
Hmm.
And
I
so, what
love
do you
it.
do with them when you don't have any punishment and that's not a framework you use? And the answer is you send them to school. So, there is a school for essentially wild punk scientists that's on the very edge of the
Oh my
galaxy.
gosh.
And that's where you go.
That's my jam right there. I might have to dip into
Right
that.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come through. We got you. I got so many,
Yeah.
all of these settings are things that came from my classes, teaching kids to write and creating different options for them because I teach online. So all of my online classes here, this is a thing I can show you. Here you go. Let me find the lore deck first. Here's the Luna Uni lore deck. And this is fun because I'm about to show this I'm going to South by Southwest EDU in March,
Okay.
and I will finally be selling this book in the
Ooh.
South by Southwest bookstore, which will be
Dun,
the
dun,
first print run
dun.
because it was digital originally. So every single
Oh.
game that I create for my online classes exists in a Google slide deck. And what the kids do is they get some lore, like never use the A word. The appropriate
my
word
gosh.
is descendants because all of us are descended from the progenitors.
That's
They
amazing.
grab a character slide and they get to write lines about their character and decide what kind of loony they want to be. I always tell them these ideas for loonies, they're to inspire you. They're not to limit you. So
Yeah.
they grab these and then between classes, they write stories in the deck and they can create more graphics, add things. And those stories shape the plot line that we ultimately play through. And
That's
then,
amazing.
so this is how they get into reading and writing and, because it's theirs, right? It's impossible
Yeah.
not to love it when it's your
Hmm.
world. And when the creature you created shows up in a scene, it's impossible to not feel like, oh my gosh, let's go. So yeah, this is going to
Yeah.
be, and there's a whole scripted plot line for classroom teachers that I've had a bunch of teachers using. But anyway, you get the idea. And I have a lot of those settings, so many. We haven't
Oh
even
my gosh.
touched like half of them in the show. So like we did Luna Uni, we did Transdimensional High, we started Riftling Researchers, and we've done a couple of episodes of Partners in Grime, which is the grimy goblins pulling pranks on humans in the
Love
modern
that.
world. Yeah,
Mm.
it's always a
That's
good time.
good.
But there's so many others, and there are worlds that kids have created together. Like that's always an option. We always vote between settings and then talk until we agree. And there's so many cool mashups. Like we got kids playing The Darkened right now, which is that one's post-apocalyptic. There's been hundreds of years of ice age, and
Hmm.
everyone's changed and mutated. And
Oh,
now there's
very
the great
cool.
thaw, and everyone's emerging to try to see what's happened to the world. And nobody's really sure like what started the ice age. And then, the kids write the backstory. So we start with those lore seeds, and then the kids decide, oh, it was really, whether they want it to be a giant
That's so cool.
war or a
Yeah.
meteor hit or whatever. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. And that kind of creativity in that kind of setting is, like you said, not just for kids, because it's funny you're talking about this classroom setting, which I love. I just started a new job in August, and in the training session,
Yeah.
we'd have these breaks, and
Yeah.
during the breaks we'd get these worksheets of like what's your favorite play, like create a
Hmm.
playlist, and we would play
Mhm.
bingo with music, so we get to introduce our taste of music to other people, which
Yes.
was a trip in itself. Only
Yeah.
7 adults, but still, you put 7 adults, different tastes of music in a box, it gets
You
really
learn some
interesting.
stuff and you
You
get
learn
infinite.
some
Yeah.
stuff.
You learn some stuff.
But we did that where it's our trainer sent us a sheet, and everybody's like, "This is weird." Granted, I was so excited because it was a like create your own planet, tells
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
story of this planet.
Mhm.
I was all over it, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because these people that have never done something like that, they don't do gaming,
Mm.
did this, and I just kind of slipped it in there slightly because they knew I was a gamer. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just so you guys know, you guys just world built.
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing. Y'all just did it. Good job.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, this is so much fun. This is amazing. So I know again, you're like, oh, this isn't just for kids. It's fun. It's colorful. It's very, I don't say childlike, but it's lively.
I mean,
It
I
applies
think
to adults.
zany,
It really does.
zany and
Yeah,
fun.
zany's a good word.
Like, listen, we all
Fun.
love zany fun. I don't know when the
Yeah.
edgelords started creeping in and taking over fun. Somewhere along the way, people were like, you know what? If there's no blood splattered on the wall and things that make my mom want to vomit, I'm not having fun and it's not funny. I'm like, actually, I laugh more and enjoy Ghibli films way more than the last
Mm.
Splatterhouse flick I watched, and most people are the
Yeah.
same. So if you want to
Fair-
play,
fair
your
point.
edgelord game, you should go do that. But
Yeah,
meanwhile,
absolutely.
I might want to be over here playing adorable monster teenagers navigating their first year at high school and having friendships and figuring out prom and, oh my gosh, after school clubs. And
Hmm.
it's adorable. And the funniest thing is kids do the same thing. That whole thing about saying no. Yo, we don't realize this, but games start saying no way before the dice come out because they
Mm,
start saying no with the setting.
Hmm.
yeah.
The minute you sit down at the table and you pull out a D&D book, the thing about D&D, really inspiring, and I will say this, the reason D&D has the share of the market it does is it's got 40 years of unbelievable fantasy art. That's why.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's why. Any kid will pick up that book and be like, what? And immediately is like, I want to do this. But the problem is that premise is already saying no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's already a million no's on the table. No, you're not kids. No, you're not superpowered. No, you're not this. No, you're not that. No, you have to be doing this, this, that.
Hmm.
When you let kids play a game, and I mean, even if you look at the structure of the game, it's a game about combat.
Yeah.
It's a game about fighting. If you want to make a character who's like, I like boba, I make boba, and I'm really good at it. I make a lot of flavors, and I'm gonna open up a boba shop. Can I come with you and make boba? Everybody's gonna be like, no, you can't play that character. They're gonna be useless in a fight. We're just gonna throw you at the monster
Hmm.
because the game's about fighting. You let kids play a game and you let them structure the plot line. I've had so many kids come up with unbelievably amazing plot lines that entirely have to do things like one of them, they created a separate game world. We're currently playing an arc. Oh, I can't tell my kids about this. They would love hearing themselves shouted out on the show, but I can't tell them because we cuss.
Yeah.
But they're currently playing a game world. They played Transdimensional High, and in the arc, they went to a mecha magic class in which they found out about an AI, a magical AI, and then they had already in their stories written up a fantasy video game called Bog Kingdom. And Bog Kingdom was all like frogs, and they described themselves playing this game with their friends. And so at the end of the arc, I was like, guys, what if it turns out Bog Kingdom was actually run by the AI and you guys get sucked in? We could play the next arc in Bog Kingdom. So currently we are in an epic arc inside the video game of Bog Kingdom.
That's amazing.
And it's like that kind of stuff. I would never have come up with that. The kids generated it and they tell me where the story goes and I facilitate. It also takes the pressure off. Like a D&D model, it's the auteur model. It's not a writer's room. It's I made this thing. You should thank me for being here. And I'm like, that's great, man. You had the time to do all that just for me. Thanks, bro. But I'm grown. I got a kid. I got a lot to do. I can't prepare hours worth of material for a room full of my friends. If I got time with my friends, I'm just so excited to hang out that I just want to get into the thing I came here to do, which means give me some collaborative mechanisms. Help me share the load. Help everybody generate this thing together. Loads off of you. You still get the same delightful experience and you don't have to do all this free labor for your friends.
What?
Yeah, it's a weird thing because you're talking about like setting limits and this, that, and the other, and kind of going from being a kid and having this wild imagination to come up with these insanely intricate and beautiful sort of scenarios and aspects. Do you think that when we get older, we start imposing those limitations on ourselves?
Ooh.
You know what I think it is? And this is gonna be sad because you did this to your kid. You admitted it earlier, and that is not me calling you out. We
No.
do this to our kids.
No, call him out.
We start getting told no at a very young age, and we get told no again and again and again. And there are a lot of ways in which no is important. Here's the way, because this is to frame it a different way. Ready? This is the thing that people don't understand about safety tools at a table. If people get upset about safety tools, I'm like, okay, so you got taught by the kind of people who said, no, you can't go to the bathroom. What I mean is this. They said, I have a need. And instead of hearing, okay, let's talk about your need and discuss what makes sense for right now. So if I'm the teacher and you're like, I got to go to the bathroom and I'm right in the middle of something crucial, I'll be like, oh, can it wait? Because I got to say this one thing. And then as soon as I say this one thing, you're good to go. Can you hold it for like 2 more seconds? And if they're like, yeah, I got you, then we're good. And if they're like, no, dude, I'm like, go, go, go. Like, that's what safety tools are there to help you learn is how to have the conversation between you and the other. If you get told no a lot, you start to learn, I'm going to say no. And you also start to tell yourself no. That's the worst. So kids tell themselves no, and adults, we tell ourselves no. We forget how to say yes. We forget all the stuff that we used to have in there before no smashed it down. And that's one of the reasons people fall in love with role playing is it's one of those times when we release ourselves from a lot of the no's of our life and find all these wonderful spaces of yes that we then share with our friends. And I mean, what more is there to life than those moments of connection when you are connected with family and friends in a moment of real joy and excitement when you're sharing your yeses? That's what we all want. Yeah. Sorry, I got a little deep there.
No, that is amazing.
You have a really good point of view on a lot of things. And I think it's a different point of view from what I think a lot of people think of. And I am always a big proponent, even on the show and in my home table, of like, you need to find the game that you enjoy and have fun with that creates a joy for you to tell stories.
Yes.
And you know what?
8 types of fun. 8 types of fun. Know your fun.
Exactly. And if it is a collaborative game with Legos or whatever you find, then that's phenomenal.
Legos work for everybody, though.
I
believe works for everybody.
It does. It totally does. I'm like, I never would have thought of Legos.
Really? Because I feel like Legos, oh man, everyone
like they're
has
so
Legos.
Obvious. Yeah, everyone has Legos.
I mean,
it's
like
so obvious.
They may be expensive, but good Lord, you can find boxes of them in every local. I mean, it's
totally
everywhere.
unrelated. Totally unrelated. I really want the Lego Rivendell so bad.
Dude,
so bad. So
there are so many sets. I gotta tell you, I'm already planning. I'm having to stop myself because I got my faux cards, and I'm having to stop myself from designing faux cards for literally every set that's out there. Because I'm like, listen, any set you want to buy, all I got to do is create a little bonus pack of faux cards and maybe a particular battle mat and a couple of fill in the blank story scenes, and boom. I mean, one of my fantasies, and this is down the road a little, it's after the successful Kickstarter, all that stuff. I want to do a subscription box where once a month, a bunch of adorable little Lego critters and things come with a battle mat and a few cards, and you get another scene you can play through.
That's amazing. That's
once a month.
Really good.
I want it. I want
really
it for myself. So, you know.
All right. So we are getting close to time here. So before we say goodbye, Michael, final thoughts.
Oh gosh.
I'm going to put you on the spot now.
I'm not good at final. Okay, you know what?
You did put him on the spot.
I'm going to tell you what I tell my students at the end of every one of our 5 class. Oh, and there's my dog, by the way.
Aww.
She's always here whenever I'm on there.
Oh my God, baby. She's such a sweet.
We've lost Atlas for a bit.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Oh yeah,
no.
Dogs take priority 100% of the time.
The cat would have come in here if he could have, but the door is closed for sound reasons. But yeah, so what I tell my students at the end of every class session, we'll get to the end of a class session, and I have a terrible habit, and it is that I don't do endings. So when you said final thought, I was like, I mean, in my mind, happily ever after. That's a death sentence. You just murdered everyone in that book, and they all lived happily ever. Nothing interesting ever happened to them again. All drama is dead for them. Their lives are over. I'm like, stop it. Don't you kill my favorite people.
Cliffhanger thought. Give us a cliffhanger thought.
So the cliffhanger thought is, don't end your stories. Don't end your stories. So that's what I do. I do cliffhangers every time. Every single arc ends with a cliffhanger. And what I always tell my students is, listen, if you don't come back and we don't play through the next phase of this game, the next arc, play it on your own.
Oh, I like that.
Or write it on your own. Or just leave it there. Years later, you never know when you might come back and be like, oh, dude, you all want to play through the next arc of that game we were playing when we were 11?
I love doing that.
And absolutely, you pick it up and it's new again. Don't kill your characters. Give them the option for a wonderful, dramatic future by leaving them in that state of leaping between arcs so that you can press play again anytime you want. There you go. That's my final thought.
Fantastic.
I love that. Also, Sam in chat says, thank you for coming to hang out, and this was so cool to learn about. So thank you, Sam.
While we're on the topic of thank yous, yes, thank you ever so much for coming and joining us today. This has been absolutely mind-blowing for me. I felt like I'm walking away with a new perspective on a lot of aspects, and I am definitely into getting some Infinibrix played because it sounds amazing.
Let's go.
So now's the time. Give us plug stuff. Tell us where we can find you.
Infinibrix.com will take you directly to the landing page. The landing page for Infinibrix, that's INFINI, then BRIX. So Infinibrix.com, and then luckoflegends.com. That'll get you to my page, which has classes. If you've got kids who would like to build worlds and learn to write at the same time, that's what I do for my day job. There's storiesrpg.com, which will take you to the AP series. That's also everywhere. That's Spotify, Google, Apple. We got like 318 reviews at this point.
Fantastic. Yeah, really good.
All right. Yeah, we got
That's
good
great.
listenership. Our kids are very nerdy. They leave us the cutest. I wish more adults were listening, because they don't know, but the kids are deep in. They're telling us which characters they ship, and it's great. We try to respond when we can.
Amazing.
But that one also has Right Light episodes where I've done some interviews with some great creators. Steph Campbell of TTRPG Kids, Cesar Capacla, Andy Boyd of Pandion Games. Anyway, come through, listen to things, read things, talk to me. Feel free to just message me. I love to talk about this stuff. I'm also on Blue Sky as Luck of Legends. I'm on Instagram is Luck of Legends, and I think I'm on Twitter as @LuckLegends, but I won't check my Twitter, so don't expect to see me there.
Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of us have stopped doing that.
I'm just letting you know. If you find me, that's fine, but that's not the place you're gonna hear from me. Yeah.
Nope.
All right, Atlas, do you want to tell people whereabouts they can find you on the internet as well, please?
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Atlas Ursa. Atlas like the Titan, Ursa like the bear. Keep it simple.
That's great though.
Yeah.
I like it.
As for me, you can find me at natural.juan on Threads. I'm also behind all of our social media at Too Legit to Quit on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on Mastodon. Again, much like Michael, we do have a Twitter account, but don't worry about it. It's fine. It's only because I can't remember my password to delete the fucking thing.
Do we even call it that? Like, I don't because it's not. It's
we don't call it the other thing.
No,
I don't
it's
care.
Weird. It's just the other thing. We have the other thing.
Yeah, it's that thing we forgot about. Yeah.
I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who's kind of joined us in chat. Guys, we love hanging out with you. We love seeing you week in, week out. Thank you ever so much for all your support. And if you want to support us even further, check out our coffee account where you can buy us a coffee, or you can even subscribe to our $3 a month tier. Check out our merch. We've got plenty of shit there, so I'm not even going to bother going into it. But most importantly of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who spent time out of their busy days to listen to us waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you so much.
And now we wait and see if we're actually offline.
Keep Riverside open while you're recording uploads.
Yes, if you just leave Riverside open.
We use Riverside to record the pod, so it's
Oh 100%. Yeah,
it's the best. I mean, all the independent audio thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could never edit the pod.